Welcome to Trivia Fight Night. This is your weekly battle of the wits, pitting host Billy Hoffman against various guests of intellectual ability in a 3-round trivia face-off. 2 fighters will enter the ring and 1 will emerge victorious. Will the fight end with a judge's decision, TKO, or the dreaded knockout? Now, let's step in, square up, touch gloves, and have a clean fight. This is Trivia Fight Night.
Hello and welcome back to a very special episode of Trivia Fight Night, and it already sounds like a Saved by the Bell. a very special episode, and I'll tell you guys why it's very special. I've got Matt from one of my very favorite trivia podcasts on Triviality. What's going on, my brother from Chicago?
I'm just so excited. I'm so scared. I'm just ready to do this thing.
Well, it's funny, you know, I've hosted your show and now you're coming on my show. This is a lot of fun for me. And when I listen to your show, and we'll talk more about your show, of course, but when I listen to your show, I always find that you're my spirit animal on the show.
Yeah.
You and I tend to, if you get it right, I'm probably going to get it right as well. So tell us a little bit about Triviality, man.
Yeah, Triviality is a kind of a pub-style quiz show. There's 4 hosts, me, Ken, Neil, and Jeff. We take turns writing games. We have guests on who host games. We answer questions. It's a lot of fun. It's really fast-paced, and we just try to keep it light, keep it moving, and have as much fun as we can along the way.
Yeah, and you guys absolutely do that. You've got a great formula there. It's funny listening back from your very first games to your bonus episodes to like where you're at now.
The first ones are a little rough. I always say you could start there, but then skip a few and kind of get later on.
And I think anyone that's familiar with the podcast medium, they're starting to get hip to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they have a great Patreon as well, guys, just like we do here on Trivia Fight Night. I'm one of their Patreons. I ripped off their entire system, their show. I was inspired by it, and they're a big deal to me. So if you're heading over to Patreon, of course, check out Triviality. And when you get done supporting them, if you want to pop over to Trivia Fight Night, we appreciate that as well. But there's a lot of room in the trivia community, and it's a really cool community. And almost everyone I've reached out to that's already established in this community has welcomed me with open arms, just like you guys. So I really want to say thanks for that.
Yeah, for sure. We've been doing it now about a year and a half, and from when we started, there's probably been about like 7 to 10 pretty notable trivia podcasts that have popped up just in the time from when we started doing it. So it's like, if you like trivia and you have an iPhone, this is a great time to be around. So, or an
Android. Let's not hate on those people that aren't, caught up on the times.
Yeah, and I don't get a sponsorship from Apple, so I shouldn't even be putting them over like that.
Yeah, no worries at all. All right, well, I'm ready to hop into the Trivia Fight Night ring here. I think I might get my butt whooped. I will see how it goes. I like the questions I wrote for you, mainly because I think they're fun, but they are a good mix of challenging here. And I generally know the kind of stuff you get right, so I think you're going to do okay.
All right. Well, I wrote questions that I like. So if we are spirit animals, then you should have a good chance at some of these.
Right. And of course, in this game, we have 2 power categories. You chose basketball and pop culture. All right, so here we go. Any 2 of your 8 questions will come in those categories. But first, before we get started, we're going to kick it over to the rules.
Round 1 will consist of each fighter battling 3 questions. In these early rounds, the fighters will be given the choice of 2 answers and must choose wisely. Round 2 features each fighter taking on 5 questions where they must use their wit to survive. The third round is our knockout round. This is the final round where each fighter is allowed to wager any or all of their available points and able to secure their championship dreams.
And because you told me you liked basketball so much, I thought the greatest way to start this game was with a football question.
Perfect.
But it's sports. It's a simple true or false, man. There are 8 cross stitches on an official NFL football. True or false?
So now now I'm picturing in my head, going back to my days, not playing high school football, but I had an official XFL ball. I'm hoping that it's the same amount of stitches.
If you can honestly remember back to how many stitches are on your XFL football, I'll take that answer because I'd just be impressed with that.
Yeah, well,
they were red.
I was a big Enforcers fan, and the reboot has no Chicago team, so I'm out anyway.
Wow.
All that being said, I'm going to say true.
Yeah, it is true. There's 8 stitches on. I wrote the question as official NFL football, and I did look it up, but I wasn't sure. I imagine college and high school, they've got to be the same.
Yeah. Well, and like the basketballs are different sizes between college and the pros, which doesn't seem to make any sense.
In men's basketball, they are?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. I knew, obviously, there's women's balls, but I wasn't sure. So
pretty sure college is like an inch and a half bigger.
Wow. That's pretty interesting. Didn't know that. Well, they might want a smaller, easier to hit those 3-point shots and
for sure. Run the scores up.
Run the scores up, right? All right. Your next question comes in the category of magicians. It's an either other, and it's Eric Wise is the actual name of what famous magician? Is it Harry Houdini or David Copperfield?
Oh, Eric Wise. I know. I've learned a lot about Houdini over the last year because Neil will not stop asking questions about Harry Houdini.
And as a former professional magician turned into a stand-up comedian, I really appreciate when he does that because I never get him wrong.
Right. Well, there you go. You were talking about Saved by the Bell earlier, and the owner of that shop was a professional magician as well.
Yeah, Max.
The Max, yeah. But that doesn't help me with this question at all. I'm gonna say false.
Okay, so what I'm looking for is Eric Wise, the actual name of Harry Houdini or David Copperfield.
Yep, false isn't a right answer. I'm gonna say David Copperfield.
It is actually Houdini's name.
Ah, dang.
Yeah, David Copperfield's name is super Jewish, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. It's like
I thought you were saying he was a boy named Sue, and I got really excited.
No, it's something is like Barry Liebensteinowinski, or I mean, it's really like you hear that and you go, yeah, I see why you have a stage name.
Fair enough.
Not that like Penn Jillette is like a great stage name, but it is what it is. So
you tried.
All right, it's getting up to be the holidays here, man. So I thought I'd throw in a Christmas movie question, and not only that, I know you're pretty good with Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff. So in the film Jingle All the Way. What toy is Arnold Schwarzenegger violently chasing down? Is it Blaster Billy or Turbo Man?
Well, you could have said Booster, and that would have been the other guy that nobody wants, and Sinbad also did not want. But it's Turbo Man.
Turbo Man, get to the chopper.
I've seen that movie way too many times.
I think I've only seen it once or twice, but
it's a classic.
All right, with that ends your half of round one. You're going to ask me 3 questions here, and I'll see if I get them right. And here we go. Hopefully, I escape round one as good as you did. You racked up 20 points, man.
All right. So for your first question, I picked one of your power categories. You said that you're a big Disney guy. So, true or false? In the original screenplay for Frozen, Elsa was written as the main villain.
Okay, so I don't know this, so we're going to have to go on logic here. That would make Anna the protagonist. I mean, Elsa already is kind of a villain in the show. I mean, obviously, Duke of Weaselton and whatever, the prince that Anna ends up wanting to marry. I don't remember his name. He's 7th in line for the kingdom, so he's not important anyway. I know he's 7th in line, but I don't know his friggin' name. That's ridiculous. I'm going to have to let it go with this answer and say true.
This is true.
All right.
It's based on Hans Christian Andersen's The Snow Queen. Elsa is the evil Snow Queen. But Disney decided to change that, and it was probably for the best.
Yeah, I didn't know that was an HCA joint, but most of the Disney stuff is. So,
yeah, I guess Walt was trying to make that into a movie like as far back as the 30s, but they couldn't figure out how to adapt it right. So it took a little bit.
That's interesting. Yeah.
All right, next question. It's important in life to have thick skin. Female sharks take this to heart as they have thicker skin than male sharks. Is this a true or false statement?
Ooh, I like that. I thought when you first said thick skin and then you started talking about sharks, I'm like, well, they have that weird layer of skin that goes over their eyes for when they bite stuff. But I don't know this to be true, but sharks are weird. They have weird anatomy. And I know whenever they find like a really, really big shark, like a big, like 30-foot great white, it's always a female. And maybe that has something to do with it. So I'll say true.
Yep, this is true. Scientists seem to think this is because male sharks have a habit of biting during mating.
Oh, well,
so gotta have thick
skin if you're going to be doing that.
All right, your final question in this round, it's going to be an either or, and this is also in one of your power categories, Broadway musicals. So Jay-Z's second album, Volume 2, has a subtitle inspired from which Broadway musical, Annie or West Side Story?
That's a really good question, and I'm really glad I have a 50-50 shot at it. Not a huge hip-hop fan, so we're going to go based on the musicals themselves. Of course, West Side Story, you've got two groups of minorities. Well, I guess the Jets aren't minorities, they're white. You got the Puerto Ricans versus the Sharks and the Jets, but so here's the thing I'm torn on. Is it the whole rap like West Side Story? So you got West Side. I don't even know if like is that still a thing? Like,
and Jay-Z is not from the West Side.
See, I don't know, right? Yeah,
New York through.
Yeah, see, makes New York. He's has all the sports teams in New York and whatnot. However, I do remember a rap hip hop song, and I don't know who it was. It was out that sampled Hard Knock Life. I may be barking up the total wrong tree, but Hard Knock Life obviously is a song from Annie, so I'm going to go with Annie.
And the answer is Annie, Volume 2, Hard Knock Life.
Oh, cool. So that was the reference there, yeah.
Yeah, so he called up the producers and asked to sample that song, and they asked him if he had heard the song before, and he said he was a big fan. He had never heard the song before. Never seen the play, didn't know anything about it, but told him that, yeah, he was a big fan, so they let him use it.
Years later, Jamie Foxx makes his own version of it.
There you go.
All right. Well, not too shabby. That is actually in all the games I've played, man, the first time I've swept round one, but I wouldn't worry about your 10-point deficit because round 2 is coming up and both of your power categories are in that round. So here we go. Your first question in round 2 is history, and it goes like this. What company's tea shipment was destroyed during the Boston Tea Party in 1773?
I've heard this before. I feel like it's a really common name, and it's just like the something tea company. I think I'm gonna say the British Tea Company.
Not bad. They were on the East India trade routes, so you're looking for the East India Trade Company. Sound familiar?
Yes. Yeah, I knew it wasn't something like it wasn't going to be Lipton.
King George's Herbal Breeze.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to hop right into one of your power categories. It is a basketball question, and I'm pretty damn proud of this question. So we'll see. It might be too hard, but I think it's really cool either way. So, starting in 2017, all NBA official jerseys are now manufactured by Nike.
Yeah.
Every team's jersey features the Nike swoosh logo prominently displayed except one.
That one is teamed owned by Mr. Jordan. It's going to be the Charlotte Hornets, have the Jumpman logo on it.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I mean, they can't get free agents still, but you'd think you'd want to wear that Jordan Jumpman on it.
It's funny because I'm up here in Michigan. I'm a big time Michigan fan, and of course we have Jim Harbaugh brought in Michael Jordan. We have like the Jumpman stuff. It just looks weird on football uniforms, though.
Yeah. Well, a lot of football players now actually wear the Jordan 11 cleats. It's like his classic, the Jordans he wore during the flu game, and a lot of those.
Okay.
They're the white ones with like the black patent leather, and they've turned them into cleats, and they wear them in all colors and stuff now. So they've kind of moved into football too.
Yeah, I figured basketball and you're a Chicago boy, so I figured I'm like, if I catch him on anything, it would be he might say the Bulls, but I'm like, he probably watches enough Bulls to know that it's not them. So
it'll come up later. Don't worry.
All right, we're gonna hop into TV, and it's with a 30-year-long career behind the desk of the Tonight Show. Johnny Carson was the longest running host. Who was the shortest?
Of the Tonight Show?
Correct.
Oh, I'm really bad at these. I believe it's the person in between Johnny and Jay, but I'm not sure. I'm going to say maybe it's David Letterman. I'm going to say Letterman.
It's actually not Letterman, and I think you thought too hard on this one. People seem to forget that Conan O'Brien had that real short stint before Jay Leno screwed him over.
Yeah, he took his show back. There you go.
All right, this one is got 2 possible answers out of 50, and that'll make sense here in just a second. But the category is in capital punishment. And it's 2 U.S. state capitals, so it's a geography question. But anyway, 2 U.S. state capitals are named after people who were beheaded. Name either of the 2.
Oh, jeez. People that were beheaded. I'm thinking maybe it was Columbus. But I don't know why they would behead him.
They probably wanted to.
Yeah. So I don't think that's it. Actually, I'm going to say maybe King Charles was, or something. That I'm going to say Charleston.
That's a really good guess, and I think if I didn't know the answer, that's probably where logic would have taken me to. But it's actually St. Paul is the first in Minnesota, and then Sir Walter Raleigh from North Carolina.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
All right. Moving forward, you got a power category coming up, and it is your last question of round 2. It's pop culture. Now, for those of you listening, when a guy tells you pop culture, it's so vast. So even though this is his a power category, it's kind of hard to write a question that doesn't dig too deep. So I thought, instead of writing a good hitting question, I'd write a fun question. And I thought this was a fun fact, and I know he's a fan of hip hop. So rapper Pusha T, did I say it right?
Yes.
Okay. Pusha T is the real creator of what fast food jingle that has often been credited to be originally by Justin Timberlake and Pharrell Williams, but it's actually Pusha T.
Well, as long as he's still getting paid, I'm sure that he's loving it. I believe that I'm loving it.
Ba-da-da-da-da. I'm loving it. Yeah, that's right. All right, so getting 2 questions correct in that round winds you up at 40 points. Not a bad score. I tried to shoot for about 50% correct rate, and that's right where you at. So
it's a good thing I had those power categories. That really helped me out there.
Yeah, no, hey, that's why they're in the game. That's why they're there.
All right, you ready for your questions?
Yeah, let's see how terrible I do.
All right. So question 1, it wouldn't be a game written by me if I didn't have a super 90s reference. Ecto Cooler was a drink that found its way into most 80s babies' lunchboxes. What character was on the cover of this drink box?
That's Slimer, I believe. Slimer from the original Ghostbusters.
That is Slimer from the real Ghostbusters.
The real Ghostbusters. I knew there was a tagline or something like that.
Well, they had to, because the Ghostbusters was taken by a really weird cartoon that had like a talking cat or something. So they had to call the cartoon the real Ghostbusters.
I didn't know. Now I want to look up that other one.
It's really, really weird. Yeah, it's more like a Scooby-Doo clone than it is kind of like about Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay.
All right. Question 2. So I'm a huge fan of the currently garbage Chicago Bulls, who recently suffered their worst loss in history as of this recording, I don't know how much worse it can get, to the Boston Celtics with a 56-point loss.
Ouch.
I suppose this is karma from the time the Bulls had the highest margin of victory in an NBA Finals game against which team?
So in the finals, who did they blow out? So, of course, we have them playing the Jazz. I think they played the Supersonics one year. Maybe not. I see. It's funny with the Bulls when you think about like all their championship runs. I remember all the Eastern Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so much.
The
Knicks, the Pacers.
Yeah.
Even like the Cavaliers. That wasn't that the one where he did like the crossover push off move. Was against.
One of the times he did a crossover push.
Yeah, but like the famous one against the White Boys.
That was 89, I believe.
Yeah, so when you think about like Bulls finals, I'm just gonna, for a lack of a better option, I mean, I could sit here and name Western Conference teams that. I mean, were they beating the Suns back in the Barkley days, or was that Suns getting taken out by the Rockets? Oh, Rockets are in the West. I'll just say the Utah Jazz.
Well, you lucked your way into that one. The answer is the Utah Jazz.
That's the only one I knew. Who else did they beat in their 6 feet?
So they beat the Lakers.
Okay.
Then they beat the Blazers.
Oh,
Then they beat the Suns. And then the Sonics and the Jazz twice.
So I named a lot of them.
Yeah, you're there. They beat Barkley.
I should have remembered the Blazers because they were good when the Pistons beat them for one of their championships too.
Yeah, that was the Drexler.
The Drexler.
Yeah. All right, doing well so far. Moving into question 3. While it may seem strange that a member of the WWE Hall of Fame is sitting in a political office currently, it's not the first case of this happening. Which grappler led a political body when he was elected governor in 1999?
Oh, that's a funny clue there in the question. In case those of you didn't catch it, he said body because he's talking about Jesse the Body Ventura.
Jesse the Body Ventura.
Now let's see. He won governor of Minnesota, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The great state of Minnesota, as he said often.
And was he a good politician? Do you know? I mean, or not that like I'm asking your personal, but like, is he like well respected?
He's not viewed as, he was kind of just like they wanted a different kind of voice, and that's who gets elected sometimes when that happens.
So he was 1999's Trump.
Yeah, and he's kind of crazy too. He's got a lot of conspiracy theories stuff going on, where he's sure that government's going to fall and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, so, I know he's kind of gone off the Alex Jones train of thought here for a while.
Interesting note, there's a wrestler in Japan named the Great Suzuki who in 2003 became the first masked member of a political organization.
Wait, is he wearing the Mexican wrestling mask?
Yeah, he wears his lucha style mask while he's part of some kind of governing body in Japan. And they had to have a ruling that he had to wear a mask that showed more of his face. I don't know, it's a really weird story.
That's great. He's like, this is my modern day ninja mask.
Yeah. Well, so wrestler Kane was just elected mayor of a town in Cincinnati. And he used to wear a mask. He doesn't wear a mask anymore. So now he's just a mayor.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget who the former mayor of Cincinnati is.
That's true.
Jerry. So they do some weird shit down there.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, question 4.
All right. The proper measurement of force has actually nothing to do with midichlorians and more to do with this measurement named after a pretty famous scientist.
I would rather it have been the Star Wars question. Oh, force, huh? So when I think of force, I think of momentum and kinetic energy, and I don't know anything else. So, oh man, and I don't know like what's the science. So, I don't know the scientist's name. That's what you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
The scientist's name who came up with. I don't think there's like a Joseph Momentum or there's like an Alfred Kinney or something like that. We're gonna go with Kinney.
All right. Well, I almost wrote a clue in here about figs, but you're looking for Newton.
All right. You ruined my perfect game, Triviality, Matt.
Sorry, I had to write one hard question.
No, that's a great question. I'm not bitching. No, and quite honestly, it runs into one of the areas that I need to study more. I wrote a question the other day in a game, and it's already aired. But how deep is 1 fathom? Mm-hmm. And because I'm always getting like fathoms and furlongs and stuff like that wrong, so I was like, I'm gonna write a question, and so it makes me study it.
Yeah, those are tough. And I wrote a whole thing on furlongs about how it came about, and it was like the post that an ox can travel before it gets tired or something like that is how it came about. It's really, really kind of weird how some of these measurements come about.
Yeah. And the fun fact I learned was a fathom is 6 feet, a twain is 2 fathoms, and Mark Twain, that's why he that picked that, or Samuel Clemens, that's why he it was like a nautical throwback thing.
Oh, there you go.
All right, my last question.
And last question, question 5. Post Malone's first album, Stoney, released in 2016, had a song named after which famous Georgetown alum? No word on how much he practiced the song before releasing.
All right, so I know who Post Malone is, and the only reason I really know who they are is because a lot of people hate them. But also they were on SNL last week with Jason Momoa. But I have no idea. So we're going to have to go sports route. And you said Georgetown alum. And I mean, there's a lot of people that went to Georgetown that didn't play sports. But so you got what? Allen Iverson, Patrick Ewing. And you're a basketball guy, so it's going to lead me to one of those. Little game theory here, my man. So I'm gonna lock in with Patrick Ewing just because I don't know anyone else.
Should have leached on to the practice. We were talking about practice. It was Allen Iverson.
Practice? We're talking about practice? I didn't catch that. That's a really good. You're so good at doing stuff like that.
The name of his first hit single was White Iverson, which is when I first heard of. I was like, "Who is this guy?" And now he's one of the biggest rappers or whatever on the planet. But
you know what? He wasn't on SNL. That was the other group that everyone hates.
Nickelback?
No. Mumford and Sons.
Oh yeah, at least they're still around, huh? Good for them.
Well, they're on SNL, so that could be
right.
could be going downhill from there.
Yeah.
But if you're a fan of SNL, or if you're not, the Jason Momoa, the Aquaman episode, it was okay. It was okay. Yeah. Of course, they did a Game of Thrones skit, and if you're a fan of Game of Thrones, it was right on. And they did a really funny skit with Elf on the Shelf, where the elf is reporting back to Santa that his little boy all he does is masturbate. So it was
perfect.
It was as far as SNL goes, it was not too bad. But all right, that ends round 2. Going into the knockout round, I have a 20-point lead, 60-40, which means absolutely nothing because you get to pick the category for the knockout round. Now, here's how it works. You're going to pick the category. It could be arts, history, science, general, all kinds of different stuff. Whatever you pick will pull up on randomtriviagenerator.com, which is basically a flashcard. We will make our wagers before we actually see the question, and we'll go from there. So, arts, history, science, general, entertainment, geography. What sounds good to you, Matt?
I'm gonna go entertainment there.
This has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate you coming on, man. Again, like I said, I think we would be wasted on the same trivia team together because we
overlapping there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Science, entertainment. Okay. All right. Entertainment question. Looks like it's a movie question. And who was Charlie's roommate in the 1989 movie Dead Poets Society?
Oh, God.
My exact feelings. Who was Charlie's roommate in the 1989 movie Dead Poets Society? So this is, are they looking for the character name? They must be.
Yeah.
Because Charlie's a character. So.
Right.
Can't even really pick a Lucky Johnson because they gave you a first name here.
Yeah, I got nothing, but
Well,
I locked in with whatever I'm going to say.
all right. See, I'm gonna lock in with Dave, random Dave.
Yeah,
And what
I'm pretty sure this is a Robin Williams movie, right?
It is. Yeah, it is. I remember him standing on the desks and reading Tolstoy or something.
This is the Oh Captain, My Captain, right? Is that?
Yeah. That's the movie.
All right. Well, so I just picked my favorite Robin Williams character and just said Patch Adams.
Dr. Patch. Yes, I don't even know. Like, I started thinking, I thought, like, well, I don't know Robin Williams' character's name, so that doesn't help me at all. And I thought, well, did Robin Williams was a teacher in that movie? So did he have a roommate? But I think it's going to come down to wagers here. But anyway, Richard, I picked the wrong generic white guy name.
Should have went with Dick. Always go with Dick.
Always go with Dick or Johnson, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like for those of you listening, if you're into trivia, you're playing pub trivia and you don't know, you're Johnson, Smith, Jones.
Yeah.
Those are the...
You got a 1 in 100 chance instead of a 1 in a million if you pick something else. Yeah.
Right. So you're saying there's a chance. So, all right. So you entered this round with 40 points in entertainment. What was your wager, good sir?
I wagered 20.
You wagered 20, which drops you down to 20 points. So he was, man, had you gotten it right in Champions Bet 0, we would have had to go to one more. Oh, no, we wouldn't. It just would have been a draw. I actually wagered 21, thinking that you might get it right and I might get it right. And if that happened, I'd have a 1 point.
I could have won with a 0 bet thing.
Yeah, with a 0 bet, you would have snuck out a 1 point win, but it didn't work out that way. So, with a final score of 39-20, I retain my heavyweight belt here in the Trivia Fight Night booth against Triviality. I have to be honest, I think you're the only one on your team that I would have beat.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's not a, it's funny with trivia because it's not a base or a judge on intelligence. It's really just a question of what you know, and there's a lot of luck involved in it, and people don't realize that.
Yeah, my trivia skill set is very niche, but it just so happens that it's the one that nobody has. There's a reluctance to get good at sports trivia, and a lot of people aren't good at it. So if you know a lot and you know a lot of the random pop culture memes, that kind of stuff, you can be useful to a team, even if you don't know anything about science or geography.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, man, if you want to make the 4.5 hour drive up, our trivia state championships are this Saturday, and we have an open seat in our team. So,
all right, well, that's a bit much. Once they get those fast moving trains out, then maybe I'll make that ride out. Yeah,
I've never taken the train from where I'm at in Michigan to Chicago, which I'm real close to Ann Arbor, so I mean there's a train station right there.
I heard they were putting in a high speed one that was supposed to go directly to, I forget, maybe it was Ohio, but it was something that was going to be really fast. Yeah,
I mean if they can knock it down to like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah, I'll be there for sure.
That would be sweet because I like Chicago. It's a cool town. It's an easy town to visit too. So. All right. Again, guys, check out their website.
Trivialitypodcast.com.
There you go. Glad I had him say it in as well. As they have a group on Facebook called The Crop because they use the cream of the crop for their winners. So they have a Facebook group. It's called, if you look up Triviality Fans or Triviality The Crop, I believe it'll pop right up, right?
If you search up The Crop, we're not the one about corn or farming. We're the one with the big old macho man cover on.
or horse whips, aren't those? Stuff like that. Sure. There's a lot of different things, but all right. Again, 39-20, not a terrible game. That was a lot of fun. Thanks for playing along, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we will be back with another episode. I have a challenger stepping into the ring to face off against me, your host, Billy Hoffman, on Trivia Fight Night.
This has been Trivia Fight Night. If you are a trivia fighter yourself or interested in bonus shows, extra content, and or merchandise, please make sure you visit our website, triviafightnight.com. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the fight. We'll be back next time for another Trivia Fight Night.